Oh, what did I just do? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our AI for Business with Dr. Sherry Zhao. I'm Karima, and I'm just going to do this really quick introduction and the land acknowledgement. And then I'm going to step away because I am in the middle of a dinner in Nuremberg, Germany. So I'm just going to do this really quickly. But Dr. Sherry Zhao has a lot of information. She's super awesome at AI. So there's a lot to learn there. Andrea and Sophie will be the ones that will be moderating and help you out with your questions and answers at the end. So before we get started, I would like to acknowledge that we recognize and respect that New Westminster is on the unceded and unsurrendered land of the Hul'qumi'num speaking peoples. We acknowledge that colonialism has made invisible their histories and connections to the land. As a community, we're learning and building relationships with the people whose lands we're on. So without a lot of extra, I'm going to let Sherry take over, and I'm going to say have a great afternoon, not evening. Great afternoon, everybody. And I will catch up with you guys all next week. So please enjoy. And if you have any feedback, please pass it on to Andrea and Sophie. Take care.
Thank you so much, Karima, and I hope you enjoy dinner. And thank you so much for jumping on, even though you're international.
No worries. Take care, guys.
Really appreciate that. Hey, everyone. Good morning. I'm calling from Vancouver, from my home in Kitsilano, and really nice to see everybody. We are a small group today, so I feel we might just as well make this more so as interactive as possible, as a conversation as possible, just so that everybody walk away with the best of the use of their time. So I do have a slide deck, which I'll share now. And as soon as I share, I won't be able to see any of you. So Sophie and Andrea, if there are any questions, feel free to flag me, or if there are anything that I'm missing, please do mention. So I am going to share my screen. Now you get to see my full screen. And really, thank you so much again for having me to talk to small businesses here. I'm going to quickly introduce myself, and hopefully I get to hear from you about who you are, what's your business, and also what's your function in your business if you are having a multi-departmental organization. But yeah, in the meantime, as I am going through the slides, please do feel free to type in and using the chat box if you can. So quickly, a little bit about me. I am not an AI scientist. I always start with that. I am a small business owner. I have a biotech company that I founded called Kalino Bio. It's a biotech company developing next generation companion animal vaccines and medicines. And what we do is we utilize a proprietary technology to deploy and develop new kinds of therapeutics and preventative medicines for companion animals, mostly dogs and cats, because they are super dear to my heart. And this company has been going on for since last year. It's my second company. So as you can tell, I'm a biotech person coming from a pharmaceutical development background and got into business. So my perspective is really the business perspective about utilizing AI, less so about the underlying technologies itself. But of course, we'll touch on a little bit in our conversation. The reason why I got connected and looked into this conversation is mostly because of two folds. One is I've been working in the Vancouver business ecosystem for the past decade, both as a board member at the Vancouver Entrepreneurs Forum, as advisory committee chair at Greater Vancouver Board of Trade Skill Up Center, and also my past service as the regional director at MyTax, supporting over 500 businesses every year working with post-secondary institutions. So I have a very strong inclination towards our ecosystem in Greater Vancouver, in BC, in Canada. But also this term, I have been teaching a course, an online course called AI for Business professionals. So sorry, I kind of stumbled there. Yeah, it's a demystifying AI for business professionals. Really, it's making AI practical and accessible for non-technical professionals, which I think, I'd like a confirmation. The audience today is probably also in this in the sector of non-technical. So I've been teaching that at SFU this year, and this week is actually the 8th week of the 9th week on the course, and getting a lot of information both from fundamentals of AI and also having guest speakers who share with us what their best practices are, which you will get a taste as well, because I will be sharing some tools around the recommendation from the professionals who have been in the space. So talking about what we will be sharing today, we'll cover a few things today. And again, like I said, we're a small group. I want to make it as interactive and also as helpful as possible for your business reality. So first, we do a quick pulse check on our understanding what we can do, what we shouldn't be doing with AI, and a few things, a few areas, a few functions in your business where AI actually does make sense from my perspective and also from a lot of experts' perspective. And also to think about what might be the downside or what might be the risks to watch for when you are implementing AI in your business. Obviously, we all have FOMO right now because things are moving at light speed on a daily basis. It's almost as if you're not using AI, you worry about falling behind. But also when you are, or when you're thinking about it, there's always something else in addition to the benefits to watch for. So we'll talk about that for a little bit. And then, like I mentioned, from the course I'm teaching, we have invited the industry professionals, so either HR professional, finance professional, operation improvement professional coming in to tell us how they've been using AI, what are the tools they have been using themselves, and they have vetted the tools. So I'll share a bit of that. But disclaimer, I have no affiliation with those tools whatsoever. It's just kind of a seeding tool for you to start trying if you are interested in adopting AI in certain parts of your business. And then we can talk about how I've been approaching adopting AI in my business, but also thinking about how you measure the outcome, how you measure the benefits to decide how you should implement AI in the next step. So before I get into the reality check, I want to come back to the room to see to just quickly get an intro if everybody's comfortable telling us, who you are, where you're from, what your business in. Everybody gets 60 seconds if possible. I might pick on Andrea to start.
Sure. I don't know if I'd consider myself a small business owner, but I work for myself now. So I'm freelancing to support economic development. So on this front, I have these questions of what can I use it for? What can't I use it for? But most of the time I'm finding that AI is like a really stupid assistant where I'm like, I got to check everything. So what's the point in using it in the first place?
Very good point. Very good point. And Sophie, do you want to, and also you want to follow on? And also, I think that our participants are telling us that they can't unmute, so maybe we just have them type in like what Karen just did about where they are, what they are working on. Yeah. And Sophie, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Sophie. I'm working for the New Westminster Chamber of Commerce. I support administration, event membership, communications, and thank you very much everyone for joining us today. Just a quick heads up that I have allowed mic for everyone, so you can unmute now and talk. So that could be easier and quicker instead of typing if you're comfortable.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sophie. Anybody want to jump on to introduce themselves verbally? If not, we can just keep going with the chat. And thank you, Karen.
I can quickly introduce myself. I'm Carolyn Armanini. I'm the manager of ECDev here at the city of New West. So just interested definitely in learning more and really in hearing back from the businesses that are here. And seeing as everyone seems shy, maybe I'll just pass the torch. So Rich, you put your camera on, you're it, tag you're it. Or not. Okay, Karen, maybe I'll jump to Karen.
Hi, I already did mine. It's in the chat. So I'm from the Fraser Discovery Center. We're a nonprofit. And so all our work is centered around public education in different media. And then we also fundraise for our mission.
Thank you, Karen.
I figured out how to unmute. Can you hear me?
Yep.
It's Rich Patterson. I'm a small business owner here in New West, and my business is focused on marketing and developing branded merchandise, uniforms, apparel, sourcing programs. And we do use AI quite a bit around our company, but it's kind of hit and miss. And it's a lot of like art driven and marketing driven small projects. I haven't figured out how to turn it into an agentic, like use it as an agent support. And I'm really interested in that. Thank you for doing this today.
That's a very topical. We probably didn't. I didn't really prepare for the agenting piece, but once we actually have the course tomorrow with Center for Digital Media at Simon Fraser University, and once it's finished, I think the recording might be up on YouTube. So I'll make sure to share as well. Anybody else also want to jump in to introduce themselves?
Yeah, I wanted to quickly introduce myself. So I also work for the New West Chamber, and I've been working for them for past, I think, 4 or 5 months. And I've been working on planning and managing most of their big events throughout the year. Recently, we completed the mayor's State of the City address, which was a huge success. And now I'm working on the upcoming events for the chamber. And I do use AI for a lot of documentation for efficiency. But yeah, as sorry, I'm very bad with the names. Was it Rich? Yes. As he mentioned, that I also don't know how to use it as an agent. But yeah, I do use it for a lot of documentation and stuff, and it really helps.
And your name?
Himani, sorry.
Thank you, Himani. Okay, cool. I know there are other participants looking forward to continue seeing you typing in your info, share with others in the chat. Really glad to hear everybody's already using AI and also thinking about the next steps. So I am gonna quickly go back to my sharing and continue the conversation. So yes, I want to start with the reality check because you already started using AI. You probably already find out what you do, what you don't do with them. This might be really familiar to you already. And by the way, kudos to Cloud for helping me with all my slides today. This is a truly AI-driven presentation. As I was preparing, I just literally gave the prompt and the conversation topics I wanted to include. So thinking about the reality check, and Hamini already said that, hey, she uses AI to help with documentation, the condensing or the draft emails, and many of you who use Outlook, or maybe Gmail even, you probably already see AI helping you with your email response and also posts. I'm not gonna pick on the New West team, but I would be surprised if they didn't use AI to help freshen up the post that they send out. They can tell me that I'm wrong or I'm right in the chat box. But also, what I hear a lot more is a lot of repetitive scheduling tasks. Having AI to help with that is always really helpful. And because it's repetitive, it's predictable, it's something that AI can actually do really well. And also what we can talk about is pattern recognition, because I think with the help of AI, now being able to interpret a mass amount of data to identify the patterns is becoming something that's relevant and also really effective in the business. And you would probably have already noticed that even though you interact with AI almost as an assistant for your business or for your daily work, your judgment is still the go-to judgment, right? Because I think even yesterday I was listening to a podcast from the Wall Street Journal. The author was talking about worrying about the generation of children, youth growing up with AI without making their own critical thinking or judgment. So as business owners, you would have already gone through this a million times that, hey, there are situations in the business that require decisions. There's no obvious clear cut. It's a lot of times is really balancing different priorities. There's no wrong decision, but on those decisions, you can't just rely on AI. They can probably give you an honest situation analysis, but you are still the person who called the shots. And also, even though the models have been improved, I think most of us are using ChatGPT, Gemini, Cloud very often. You still see that it's very biased, and in terms of the fact that present, and also sometimes it still makes things up. So it can't really help you to, it can't really be relied on to always be accurate. So having a second opinion as a human judgment and also just reference check is always necessary. One thing that more and more of you probably have noticed or being more aware is the data that you input into AI, how it's being used, where it's being stored. So you can't assume that they are protecting your data by default. So when you are choosing the vendor, choosing the tool, that's something that you might want to pay an additional attention to. So which I will mention later on in the presentation as well. And again, as I was talking to my students often is, hey, it's always great to have AI assist you with your study and your homework. But at the end of the day, your work is your work. Without the human review or oversight, submitting something with AI is borderline plagiarism. But if you just utilize the AI to help you with document and research in supporting your decision and homework, then that's just the modern workflow. Similarly, as a business, you are ultimately responsible for your business. So you can't, you don't need me to tell you that, hey, the work without human review by AI is acceptable. And I think most of us, or if not all of us, have already seen in the news how Air Canada's chatbots give wrong information to the customers, and Air Canada was still held accountable at the end. So really use it when it saves you time, but really stay in control and make sure you are in control when it matters. And that also kind of plays into the AI agents too, which unfortunately we won't have time to talk about today. So 3 areas where I think it really pays off for small businesses using AI, and many of you have already noticed that. So one is getting the smarter insight faster, spot trend, spot the summary in the documentation, and understand what is working based on the feedbacks and based on the data that's coming back from the different tools. More and more businesses are using AI chatbots for customer experience because, again, they are 24/7, and you can actually support the chatbot with your specific information and create a boundary. So it actually can help you to retain your customers and also giving the faster response. Because again, as small businesses, you know the time, the latency between question and response actually a lot of times make or break that sales. And again, repetitive work. So mention that first drafts of emails and posts, once you give the bullet points to AI, and also the content or the tone, you might find this is a lot easier, because I think many of us as business owners have so many priorities. You are the controller, you are the marketer, you are the CEO, which is really chief everything officer. But having AI to help you with jumping over the initial hurdle would really help speed up and then getting productivity up. So Copilot has it, Outlook has it, and HubSpot also has it as well. So some of you might have already been using a few tools there. But what are the risks that's to be watched for? Many of you, all of us have encountered the hallucinations, so I wouldn't go into that. One more, couple more, I guess, risks or downside is the hidden costs. Not only the subscription, because two of you mentioned AI agents, I believe is probably because you have intricate workflows that utilizing the different tools that you wanted actually to achieve the automation between them. And if you're having different tools, means you may or may not have a distinctive tool for each workflow. And one is there's a financial cost between different tools, because as a small businesses, if you use AI for every function, each specific tool might cost $19.99, $29.99. They all seem pretty small at the beginning, but it does add up, and the subscription cost adds up pretty fast. And your usage among different tools also require you switching between different tasks and different workflows, utilizing different tools. So your time, your team's time, plus financial costs are the cost all added together that you need to consider. Some of us, when we are super excited about AI, we are jumping on different tools right away, only to discover, oh, this whole ecosystem is probably costing me $400, $500 every month. And I have to constantly switch from different activities, and having them to talk to each other will be really beneficial. And also having a tool that can actually suit towards your workflow will probably also be really important. I've been hearing more and more about data privacy, and I don't know whether that's something small business owners have been paying attention or enough attention when we are using AI tools. A lot of times our data, our input is actually used for training. For example, cloud, you can choose whether you want to turn off your data for training purposes or not. And when you are searching for different usages and looking for different tools for your business, make sure you always ask or make sure you always check what the data privacy and data governance is around that tool. I used to say, hey, the rule of thumb, if you wouldn't put something in the email, you don't put in your large language model. But these days, given how AI has been progressing and advanced, knowing where your data is stored, whether it's in Canada, outside Canada, and also knowing how it might be used, those are typically the fine prints from the user guide, is always necessary. And the last one is the learning curve, because we as business owners always have the FOMO as what if we're not using it? Are we missing anything? And when we are finally putting our heads down to say, hey, we are going to integrate one tool into our workflow, the first thing we don't consider the learning curve is not something that we would consider at first, because really when you are integrating a new tool, it's an additional change that you are introduced to your business. It does slow you down before it speeds up. So thinking about, hey, this is a light switch that as soon as I implement a tool, it's day and night, is probably not a realistic understanding. So when you are slowly or gradually integrating different workflows and changes into your business, always budgeting in the learning curve. So those are the risks when you are using AI to watch for. I want to take a pause because I, again, can't see everybody. So I'm going to take a pause to see anybody having anything that they wanted to share in terms of the risks that I just mentioned. if not, I'm gonna quickly get into the tools that's worth trying. And as I mentioned, I teach a AI for Business Professionals course out of Center for Digital Media, which is part of SFU, UBC, BCIT, Americard collaborations. And each week, we invited a industry professional who are in the specifics domain to talk about how they use the AI. So there are quite a few tools that they have recommended. So I think as small business, we always think about marketing and sales. We think, and the finance and the accounting is bread and butter. And also the hiring and the recruitment is always also something front and center in our minds. So I picked the three functions to share. And from a marketing perspective, not surprisingly, the large language models are pretty helpful if you watch for their data usage. So a lot of slides, like for example, this one is fully created by Cloud. And you can use those large language models for research and learning. Now generating a market research report is faster than ever. Maybe it's not as complete as you would typically get from the experts, but it's always a really good starting point just using the large language models. Many of us use Microsoft suite of softwares. The Copilot is actually pretty good if you're thinking about using meeting summaries and drafting documents and getting the business insights directly. And Salesforce, obviously, from a CRM perspective, to track different leads and remind you of the time of follow-up. So those are the tools that's suggested by one of the experts who came in to the class. And I'm gonna jump onto HR and recruiting. It was quite, again, interesting from a workflow perspective because we heard this about those tools from a professional recruiter. They utilize Apollo as one of the tools that these automate the outreach. It can A/B test different approaches. It can give you performance analytics. For example, on which day the emails are more likely to be opened. And also if there is a response from the initial email outreach, there's a second email that can be immediately followed up using the tool. So I personally find also this tool is quite interesting given the automation that's built in. And from a again recruitment perspective, it's to I guess analyze the candidate's profile and also generate recruiting notes so that recruiter, or when you are having a conversation with your potential hire, you can actually fully have that conversation. What was quite interesting around this tool, as mentioned by the HR professional, was that it's a transcriber, but none of the recordings are stored. It's only the notes are stored. So again, from a data privacy perspective, I think that's again something to consider as well. Finance accounting is definitely one of the industries I feel AI can help a lot for businesses. And obviously, I as a business owner myself, when we are thinking about using finances, what we still don't really like if it's our accounting contractor or accounting firm would outsource our data to a offshore operation to help with bookkeeping. But now with AI, taking a picture, auto categorize your spending becomes a lot easier, and more firms even the accounting firms are actually starting to use integrated AI to service you. So that is really encouraging. And also, I think because of the sensitivity around the data in finance and accounting, there's a lot more emphasis putting into data privacy. So there's the integration of the tax code in Canada, and also the tools that being utilized are having options where the data will be stored in Canadian servers. So those are some of the tools that were recommended by the experts, and I wanted to share with the audience. If you are interested in maybe integrating one of those, or actually integrating AI into one of those sections in your business, those might be the good tools to start looking at. But before you buy any tools, always ask your question of a question for your business. Like it's 4 simple questions that I typically say, hey, if you are thinking about integrating AI, the first one is a very obvious one, but also is something that's neglected very often is, do I really solve a real pain point by integrating AI or bringing AI into this function? Because again, because there's so much noise going on and there's so much uncertainty around the businesses, sometimes we think AI is almost a magic bullet, but really don't adopt it for its own sake. Thinking about what's your specific process that frustrates you, that really costs you your time, that you wish you don't have to do or any human have to do, map it out and figure out, okay, maybe that's a real pinpoint, and then start with the end in mind of solving that problem to find a tool to really suit into that specific process. And the second question is sometimes overlooked is, where does my data go? Because none of us likes to read all the fine prints, especially when it's 20-page long. When you sign up for a tool, it's almost feeling like, hey, it's either I use it or I have to accept it. But the nice thing about AI in AI development these days is, for each function, for each process, there are always multiple tools available. So look at the privacy policy, even better, put the privacy policy into your large language model and query it. Is your data used to train their model? Can you opt out? Also, where is the data stored? Do I care where the data is stored? And if there are any hidden flaws that I should be worried about. So you use AI to help you source AI, read the privacy policy, and really take notes where your data is going. And thinking about what is the true cost, right? So the cost of the software itself, and also the cost of the integration. Thinking about, hey, in the best case scenario, once this tool is integrated in a month or so, how much time will I save, and how much time is converted into financial gains for me? So really compare and really measure, because I think that's something that small businesses do really well. Is we're scrappy, we're entrepreneurial, and we actually make good decisions if we think about, okay, what is the true cost? So pick a process, measure the gain, or at least project the gain in time saved, and also explain the output. If I need to explain to my customer why am I using this tool and how am I using this tool, can I explain it? Because again, at the end of the day, small businesses, everybody wears multiple hats. And if AI makes a decision for you, the last thing you want to do is to explain to your customer, oh, the AI says so, right? So ask yourself those 4 questions before you invest time or money, more so time. Because the money, you can always just walk back, say, hey, I'm going to cancel that subscription. Hopefully there hasn't been any catastrophic failures yet. So those 4 questions to ask. But I think I mentioned it throughout the presentation, is measure and review. So how do I suggest people to go about it? Really is a simple 3 steps. One is always pick one task, right? And don't it's nice to think, okay, I want to really design everything to be automated, and I will go from 1 to 100 right away. But picking one task, get comfortable with it, start with the one and start there. to utilize AI. And once you pick out one task, it's a lot easier to pick out a tool that's suitable for that specific task or process, and try it for a couple of weeks. But while you are trying, make sure you measure it, right? Measure how much time you spend, how much money you spend before and after implementing the new tool. And is the quality actually acceptable? And then repeat the process. So if you find it's really helpful, expand it. If you don't, then maybe it's time to swap tools and try a different task. So only scale what is working. And because you are taking it one step at a time, it's a lot easier to control and contain the changes, and to give your business a chance to fully integrate and to fully utilize the benefits. So I know I've been kind of speaking into the void towards my laptop. I hope I haven't missed off your questions, but I'm very looking forward to have this conversation with all of you. But a few key takeaways of this webinar. I think the biggest ones are really repetitive tasks when you are thinking about utilizing AI, but make sure you verify their outputs and also be aware of your data. I would really encourage you to start with one task, one tool, try it for 2 weeks, review, refine, and iterate, and then start from there. With that, I would love to take some questions, and feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn as well. There we go.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have a question? If not, I do have a question. So sometimes when I go to like the website and like I want to ask like some questions, and I need to talk with the chatbot, but sometimes very frustrating when it like misunderstood my inquiries, or it gave me like an incorrect like detail. So I know that like many businesses are now using AI to answer customer questions on the website. But yeah, like AI can sometimes misunderstand our questions and provide inaccurate responses. And like for me personally, it's very frustrating. So do you have any recommendations or some like practices to handling these situations quickly, like as a business owners? Like how we can like, keep track of that and like fix it, and, like give like a professional solution to that while still like using AI efficiently?
Yeah, that's a really good question. That's a really good question, because chatbot, I think they're getting better. The good news is they are getting better. Shopify integrates chatbots, Microsoft integrates chatbots. So they are responding better with your specific training material. So it's slowly getting there, but I do agree that they are not as smart, if I will, as a human when they interact with users. So my suggestion are twofold. One is about the material you feed into your chatbot, right? So really, your AI is only as good as their data. So make sure you as a business owner, or even as a business owner regarding whether it's chatbot or analysis or anything else, start with very clean and organized data to make sure that the training piece is clear, or the memory piece is clear. That's one. And again, I know this sounds really easy. And with a lot of small business, the data organization is actually not the easiest thing. But I think it's worth time if you are thinking about training your assistant. If you were to train your assistant, how would you train them, and treat AI that way? So give the data a bit more care than you probably would have when you are training. The second piece is testing. I always say, hey, you might want to just test your chatbot as a user before releasing it. So maybe have your small cohort of power users or lead users to help you test out. That would be my suggest. That might be two suggestions.
That's great. Thank you. We have a question. We have the comment from Alicia. Thank you, Sherry, sharing your expertise question. Businesses in US are struggling just to keep their doors open. How could small businesses use AI to relieve the stress, get more customers, and operate smoothly?
Yeah, thank you, Alicia, for that question. It is a really uncertain time for all the small businesses. The cost is high from everything, right? From the cost of goods, the cost of operating, cost of labor. There's just so much more disruption that's happening towards businesses. So it is a really tough time. I personally think a few ways small businesses might want to utilize AI to help with their business. One is from the marketing perspective, utilize, because again, a small business wear multiple hats all the time, but utilize AI for marketing, copies, drafting different materials, promotional materials to start with, and also utilize some of the tools to hopefully have some outbound outreach to potential customers to bring awareness about the businesses. And also once the customer are attracted so that the businesses owners can actually spend off more of their time because AI taking up other parts of the operation, so they can focus more on the customers in their own operation. I know this is a very long-winded answer, but what I really hope is the business owners can use AI at the places where they can save more time, so they can deploy those time more towards the customers.
Hear, hear. I wish I could put my camera on, but thank you, Sherry, for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Very good question. Do we
I
have
see
another
someone
question?
typing. Lisa Bennett is typing.
Yeah, I see Lisa's tapping.
Sherry, you gave a presentation to the New West Chamber in person at Waves Coffee downtown. And yeah, that was a very engaging conversation when really AI was just starting up and people were just using it for the first time.
Yeah, I think there was more fear at the time, but now I'm just really glad to hear that everybody has been utilizing and now thinking about, okay, how do I use it smarter, and how do I make sure that all the tools talking to each other, which again is super encouraging. And Lisa mentioned that she's tried webware.ai. I haven't, sorry, Lisa. So I haven't used that specific tool, but you mentioned that their AI dumps down and oversimplifies our language. Lisa, this business tried to use it for marketing, but it kind of gathers irrelevant information and good value. Yeah, so yeah, it's I like how Lisa, you kind of compares AI with an employee, and I do like that comparison because that's how I see it, is a junior assistant who can help me with repetitive tasks, but I also almost always have to remind them very regularly what is going on, just like their memories don't always stay when you train them. I don't have a particularly good suggestion here other than maybe try to tell them what is good information. What I find is if you tell the AI, hey, this is not good enough, because there are 375 different options they can go after, they don't always understand what your good means to them. So giving them examples of, okay, this is the language we use, this is the tone we use, this is how I have revised your work and this is the final version. I find those type of feedback is almost good examples when working with large language models. So really it's like, hey, this wasn't good. this is good. And they might be more conducive when you show them the examples and give them a model to follow. Cool. Any last questions?
Just one more comment, like from my experience talking with a chatbot, sometimes it's losing the authentic vibe of like talking to a human being. It's just talking you a chart and like it gives a very like generic answer, and it's really frustrating when like it doesn't like answer my inquiries. Then I have to call, and like when I call the business and it go through like AI, like give me some keywords, and then it takes like forever to finally transfer to like an agent. So like it's very important like just to train AI, like train an employee to work well and efficiently, just not to adapt it and then leave it there. Then it will like lose customers.
Yeah, it's definitely an integration, right? That's like I mentioned, you can't just leave AI to the major decisions and they don't understand your specific customer inquiry or customer needs. So have them do the bulk of simple problems, and so that you can focus more on the individual needs.
That's great. Thank you for
Sherry,
sharing.
you're an SFU professor, and we just experienced this cyber attack at SFU and
Oh.
all the other post-secondary education institutions. How are you dealing with this crisis?
Oh, that's quite interesting. So I'm a practitioner faculty, which means I'm a part-time faculty member, and specifically I'm teaching out of Center for Digital Media as a Master of Digital Media program. I had the same question. Funny that you mentioned it. So SFU does use Canvas. I think SFU and UBC, both of our two of the largest institutions in our province, used Canvas. I did get a notification from the institution about how the situation is being addressed and investigated at the moment. And that comes back to how you treat your data and data privacy. So at Center for Digital Media, the data is actually hosted locally. So it's not in the cloud, which means it's not impacted as severely, but also the tool itself, the supplier, the tool, the service provider level was impacted, which does impact a lot of practices. For example, now for some of the data sharing or file sharing, we're using different method and different tools. But I was also at a cybersecurity training this morning as part of my director training. It turned out with AI, unfortunately, the hackers themselves are becoming more and more proficient, unfortunately. So having a very clean slate of data policy and data culture is becoming more and more important in a company. And of course, it varies by the sizes and varies by the sectors and the services you're providing. Everybody has different risk levels. Everybody has different risk tolerance. But also what I also learned is cybersecurity insurance these days are actually, I quote, a buyer's market. Because more and more providers are getting into this space, but the price does fluctuate. So that made me think, one is how do we really pay attention to our data storage, data structure, and data policy. Two is, as a business, maybe start considering the insurance on the cyber side. Just
Interesting.
yeah, just because it's not a matter of weather anymore. I think
Yeah.
all of us at some point will have to really pay attention towards
'Cause
cybersecurity.
if you think like your building is your property and information is your property, so how do you
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a really good. That's a
ensure
really.
your property is insured? Wow, you just blew my mind, Sherry.
I just share some of my learning from another course myself.
Interesting. Thank you
I'm
for
not an
sharing.
expert. I'm not expert. I feel we all need to learn a bit more about cybersecurity for sure.
Yes, 100%. That's why we're all here today.
Cool. Cool. So thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation. I hope this presentation also helps you a bit in your daily work. And I hope you have a bit of a takeaway that really made the investment of your time pay off. So again, really appreciate City of New West having me to have this presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all great information. And thank you everyone for joining us for the webinar today. We have a lot of events coming up with the New Westminster Chamber of Commerce, and when we hope to see you all there. Okay, great. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.